Alright, Rich Runner, I'm going to make this video for you as a reference, just to kind of have something that you can refer on in case you forget or need help with the radio, because it is modded and a little more complex, especially when you're first getting into the hobby. So these are more like end-user professional mods that have been done into the radio. Your your SWR calibration knob is going to be your actual RF power variable knob. So this is what you adjust when you want to change your dead key of the radio when you key up with no audio for what you're driving into your amplifier. So most all glass and transistor pill box amps are going to be a 2-watt dead key unless they're stated that, they're a high drive. So unless it's labeled high drive, you're going to keep it at a 2-watt. Now, if it's a high drive, it could be anywhere from 4 to 8 watts as your dead key, which this radio will go up to 8 or 9 watts if you turn the SWR cal knob all the way to 10, as far up as it'll go. It'll dead key somewhere right around 8 or 9 watts. Now, where I've got it now, let me see if I can zoom in on this clearly here. I'm going to get some light. It's kind of hard to see, but this knob is set, should be set to right here. Right there. Let me check. So, pointed right just before the 6 is 2 watts dead key on the money. And what I'll show you by that is when I key up with no audio, top scale, right about 2 on the money. That's a 2-watt dead key. I got this set on the 20-watt scale, so that's 20 watts. This is a single final radio, so this will do 2 swinging 15 with some audio. Let me see if I can get this over here so I can adjust it and show you. Feedback. Let me turn the mic gain back some. Alright. Audio. 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 So it swings up to 15 watts as it should. 2 watts swing to 15. It does have the option for direct injection studio audio, so I'll get to that in a moment. Now this radio has, I'll zoom back out here. I'm gonna upload this to YouTube so you can watch this. So just keep in mind your SWR cal, it adjusts how much when you key this microphone down, it adjusts how much power the radio is putting out with no audio modulation, which you've seen 2 watts. So this is perfectly set to run an amplifier at this setting. Your mic gain, of course, you'll need to play with this and adjust it depending on which mic you're running. Powered mics, you'll hear a squeal. If you key up, you can just back it off until the squeal goes away and you should be good. It does have talk back. Now, don't use this as a reference of what you sound like over the air. This just kind of gives you a rough estimate of if you're squealing or sound distorted. It's not going to give you real life over the air sound, but I'm going to turn it on just so you can hear it work. You will get feedback if it's turned up too high. Audio, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello. Audio, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can see that works. It does have weather channels. Typically with most of these base weather radios, they're designed when you hook them up. The direct antenna to radio coax, no jumpers or meters or amplifiers in line. Once you start adding that, it can make it to where the weather doesn't work. It just all really factors on the quality of the coax and what you're hooking up. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. I'm in weather now. So you can you can kind of hear it coming in. Like you can kind of hear it, but like I said, when you're running a bunch of coax and jumpers, it affects how the weather signal works in the radio. Upper and lower sideband do work. The SWR calibration, of course, knob. This knob isn't going to do, anything because you just keep it in the signal so that it shows the signal, because the SWR cal has been, the RF power mod. RF gain, of course, changes how much you're receiving. You always just want to keep that all the way up. Squelch works. You can, turn squelch up, and then when there's no signal strong enough to break it, see, you can hear that when a stronger signal comes in, it breaks the squelch. Pretty self-explanatory. The clarifier does work. When you're on AM, keep it all the way turned down. Turn it up just a hair. That'll keep you on frequency. See, it reads, you can't really see with the light on. Let's see if I turn that off. 272550, right on dead frequency. If you go up to like 38 lower sideband, you can hear they're coming in. Someone's playing stupid noises. Let's try that 39. So you can adjust the clarifier on lower sideband and tune them in. It's kind of a bad representation because there you go.
You take it easy, take care, man. I guess we gave him enough for today, man. He probably go out.
That's tuned in right at 12 o'clock, which is what most clarifiers should be at on sideband. You can see the frequency's dead on to sideband, and when they talk, if I adjust this all the way to the left or right, you'll hear where they don't sound clean. So this is a very, very, very good sideband radio. This thing will talk on sideband, barefoot or with an amp behind it, as I've explained before. I was trying to hope.
Yeah,
there we go.
549. That's
See how it sounds off? You can just, clarifier works awesome. Dead on frequency.
121 station.
Off frequency.
Off the keys on your final.
So it works great, and that's lower sideband, and it tells you what mode you're on, lower sideband, as well as on the knob itself. Like I go back to AM light. Now, I know this is kind of a long video, but I kind of want to explain things so you get a good understanding. Next thing, this is your standard channel 9 switch. No one uses it. The bright switch, you can't really tell in video, but you can see the frequency counter. It makes it makes all of this section brighter. The LED, bright white LEDs I installed behind the meter, they get a hair brighter. This is your noise filter. It's just a typical Galaxy noise filter. It makes like let me see.
Wait, no, I'm on it. What is that? I 22, I've been waiting all morning. What is that? Hey, 22, I've been waiting all morning. What is that? Go down.
It kind of makes them, to me, sound like they're underwater. You got your noise blinkers and your ANLs for if you got any buzzing, interference noise. You can turn that on and it'll take it off. So that's pretty much it on the front side of things. It does have a working headphone port, so you can wear headphones. It's a 4-pin mic jack, so you'll need a 4-pin microphone. Now, in the back of the radio, there's a toggle switch right here that I installed. And when you flip that on, you'll be able to hear the Roger beep. When you unkey, it'll have that Roger beep. Flip the switch back off, nothing. Now, it does have the water drops Let me turn the volume down, you might be able to hear it. It does have the key up water drops. Of course, it doesn't sound like that over the air. It sounds much better on the receiving end, because like I said, with TalkBack on, it doesn't give an accurate representation of what you sound like over the air. But it does have the key up water drops. I installed those as well as the Roger Beep and the bright white LEDs. It's got the studio direct injection if you want to use a mixed board like this and a studio mic. I'll include you this little mix board. I don't need it. You can have that. I'll get to the studio stuff here in a second. So basically, that's going to be it for all of those features. Now, the water drops that I installed, they're very rare. There's very few people that have those still today. They don't make it anymore. This was something that was like back in the 80s that was put out, and I've recently, a few months back, put it in this radio. Basically, a CB shop was going out of business, and they had some old stock in the store that was brand new that they found in storage that was never sold. So this is brand new old stock. So that's a very sought after mod on there. On the back side here, try to see if I can see them. You can see those two little red switches back here. Now, those are going to be for your upper and lower side, your extra channels. So a normal CB, a normal CB radio comes on channel 1 on 26965, and then when you put it on 40, it goes to 27.405. Which is supposed to be O. That's a clarifier there. There you go, on frequency. So that's the normal frequency range and normal channels. Now, with this mod, you get lower channels and upper. So what that means is that you get the 26 megahertz, and then you get the up to 28 megahertz. So like, let me see here, for instance, normal channel 6 is 27.250. Now, if I reach back here and flip that switch, you're now on the low side. You're in the 2600s. This is called the free band. The free band is a frequency range that is not assigned to any radio. Not ham radio, not CB radio. This frequency is generally used by like garage doors and like remote controls, cars and stuff. It's not a frequency that's used by radio communication. So we call this the free band, or the pirate band is what they call that. Okay, and then you're back to 27 megahertz, and then you can flip it up, and now you've seen that this is the normal channel 6. You flip it, it goes up to the high side, and that's on channel 6, and that'll go all the way up to, I believe, 28.405, if I'm correct. Let me see. 26 and 7, 8, 9. So it goes up to 27.96. Should be 965. Yeah, clarify that in there. You go. 950. Then the end number should always be a 0. So if any time you see it kind of changing, you can just adjust the clarifier to put it back on frequency. It's no big deal. And then when we flip the switch, we're back on normal 27325, which is the frequency for this channel. So like I said, all those features work. You know, you got weather, upper and lower sideband, AM, and it does have PA. I don't know why they put a PA system on it, but you can hook a external PA speaker for like an intercom system to the radio. It's kind of pointless for me in a base station. Alright, so we went over all these features and everything with the radio. Now, we're going to get to the final thing, which is the direct injection on this radio. So, with the direct injection on this radio, what it does is you'll have to buy a 1/4-inch cable. So the modification that I've done on this radio is I've went into the board and have soldered in a filter cap that bypasses the audio circuitry of the 4-pin on the front. When you have a regular hand mic, it goes through a section on the PCB board that has little limiter resistors in there, and the limiter resistors adjust how much modulation output. They change the frequency, like the bandwidth in hertz, like kilohertz of what the microphone can put out, and you don't get that full range. So you get that sound of what a stock microphone does. So when you install the filter cap past it, what it does is it bypasses the limiters, and then it allows you to transmit with the microphone outside of that bandwidth range that was limited, where you can get the full vocal range. So this is what studio mics do. They have, a wider band audio where you get that high fidelity sound. So that is wired to the back of the radio here into this port right here. It's wired and soldered to this port. Now this is a factory port. This was for an external frequency counter. Now I didn't want to hack up the radio and drill and add a bunch of stuff that wasn't already there. So I went ahead and utilized this port, and we took an RCA plug and plugged this in. When you're not using studio mic, you'll just leave this plugged in as so, and your normal 4-pin hand mic will work just fine. Now when you want to use studio equipment with this, you'll leave this wire plugged in, except the difference will be you'll take the mic gain knob and you're going to turn this all the way down, okay? All the way down. And then what you're going to do is there's a loop here, and I've electrical taped this loop. There are 4 wires underneath of this electrical tape that are twisted together. As this stands, this is so that the front mic jack still works without the studio equipment. Now when you want to use the studio, you're going to take this electrical tape off, and there's 4 wires under here. And I'm going to give you the color coding for each wire. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to buy, and you can get this from like Crutchfield in Charlottesville. There's probably a music store in Culpeper or Amazon. You're going to buy a 1/4-inch jack cable, like one of these, like a guitar plug. And I should have another one laying around here. I'll look for that this weekend and try to get that to you. Now with this 1/4-inch jack cable, what you'll do is you're going to cut one end of it off and splice it. And there's going to be 2 wires when you cut the end off and splice it. And basically you're just going to take this tape off, and there's going to be 4 wires under here. Of these 4 wires, 2 of them are going to be twisted together. So there should be a green and yellow twisted together and a black and red twisted together. You're going to take the black and red and attach it to 1 wire of the 1/4-inch jack cable and twist it together in electrical tape and seal it, or solder it if you want. And then do the same for the yellow and green wire. You're going to take that wire and then twist it together with the other wire on the 1/4-inch jack cable so that it's all wired up. Electrical tape it, and then once that's done, the other end of this cable will be plugged in the back of the radio. You'll take the 1/4-inch jack plug and you'll plug it into your mixer, which is going to be this one here, your main output L. Then what you're going to do is you're going to you'll have your XLR jack here. So your XLR cable will plug into here, and then the other end will plug into the studio microphone, and then you'll be able to adjust, your sound effects, like your bass, mids, treble, how you sound over the air with these knobs and volume levels. You'll be able to control all that with this board, and that's how that'll work. Now, I'm going to give you the XLR cable and the studio mic, so you will have everything you need but the 1/4-inch jack cable, and I'll help you guide through that when you decide you're ready to start using studio stuff. You'll need something to key the radio. So all you got to do is you can just any 4-pin microphone. You just take the volume all the way down, plug in your 4-pin, as you see here, and you just key it up and hold it down and just talk in your microphone like normal. and then when you're done talking, you unkey, and everything will go through the jack and the mix board and the microphone from there. And then if you don't want to use the studio stuff, all you got to do is unplug when the studio's in line, unplug the XLR cable, turn up your mic gain, and just use your normal 4-pin mic as usual. So you have the option to run either or. Like I said, right now with the way it's wired, I have these twisted together and just taped off. So right now, if you feel overwhelmed right now and don't want to use the studio stuff, it's wired to work as a regular radio. So you can just put your 4-pin mic there, turn up your mic gain, and just talk as normal. And then when you're ready to experiment with the studio stuff, like I said, splice your 1/4-inch jack cable and untape this. There will be bare wires under here, and wire it to that. Plug it in your mix board, plug in your mic, key up your mic, turn off your mic gain, and just talk as normal into the microphone, and it'll work. So if you have any questions, you can refer to this video, or you can reach out to me. I wanted to do this thoroughly because I know you're getting into the hobby new, and I wanted you to have a kind of a full understanding and a video reference. And I didn't mind doing this, to help you out. So that way, going forward, you will enjoy the radio as much as I did. I mean, I love this radio to death. This thing is so awesome, and I know you were interested in getting into looking into sideband. It's a whole different ballpark, and I'll tell you right now, with this radio, sideband is killer. Sideband is killer on this radio. You're going to really enjoy it. You're going to make awesome contacts and get great reports. I got a Facebook page, 711 Central Virginia CB Radio. And if you go on there, you'll see this radio and all kinds of videos uploaded of contacts of me talking all over the world on sideband and AM with this radio. This radio has gotten a lot of praise on how it sounds over the air from locals and in DX. Like I said, I talked to a guy over in Ireland, United Kingdom, somewhere over that way, England, over across the pond. And he said in 40 years of listening to the radio, he's never heard a radio sound as good as this one, and especially on sideband. This thing is a beast. Alright, man, well, I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. I guess one more thing to touch up on, I mean, you should know because you have the 2527. It's probably got the handles on it too, or should. You can get like a computer server rack, and that's what these handles are for, and these are screw holes. And you can get like a little miniature like computer server rack or audio rack, and the radio will go into it, and you can screw it and seal it in the rack, so you have like a stand for the radio. That's it for now. So if you need anything, definitely don't hesitate to reach out.